He is a professor of history at Rutgers University. He graduated from Georgetown and Columbia University, where he earned his doctorate at Princeton. Dr. Gillette was a Fulbright exchange professor in Austria, Japan, and Russia. He has written 3 books and numerous articles in the Encyclopedia of New Jersey. He won the McCormick Prize in 1997 for the best new book on New Jersey history. Jersey Blue, Civil War, Politics in New Jersey, 1854 to 1865. This program is funded by the Horizon Speakers Bureau of the New Jersey Council for Humanities. So in that they are funding this program, that they're asking me to pass out an audience evaluation. So I will do that at the end of his program. And if you could get him back to me, I would appreciate it. Dr. Gillette?
Thank
Just
you, Gwen.
plain Bill?
Yeah, thank you. Before I give a talk about the military and the political conduct of New Jersey in the Civil War, I want to introduce these things. The college professor doesn't make much money, so all of them are phony. That is to say, they're pictures, but this is an original, which is the bunting from Ulysses Grant's first inauguration on March 4, 1869. Significant for me because I wrote a book on my Princeton doctoral dissertation on the 15th Amendment, the right of African Americans to vote, and this was just sent to the States by the Congress just days before Grant was inaugurated, and Grant had something to do with getting it ratified. This map is very important because it explains the position of the different states in the Civil War period. The yellow states are the Confederacy, the purple states are the North, and the unorganized territories in between the West Coast and the Northeast and the Middle West. What's important, however, are the green states. These are the border slave states that stayed in the Union, or Lincoln forced them to stay in the Union. And the significance is that New Jersey is often likened to a border slave state. In other words, that it's New Jersey during the Civil War is pro-Southern. This is the point of view that prevailed for a long period of time because Charles Merriam Knapp wrote a miserable, rotten, horrible book without fear and without research, and somehow got his doctoral dissertation at Columbia. That his father was a brilliant classic, a professor of classics at Columbia might help. Perhaps his doctoral advisor, who was dead by the time the book came out, had something to do with it. But let me tell you, no uncertain terms, having sat on doctoral committees, if I had been the doctoral advisor to Charles Merriam Knapp, I would have failed him because he failed to do his homework. But I discovered this over a period of 10 years of my own research. He did a miserable job, and essentially he conveyed the idea that New Jersey was pro-Southern. I do not think that was in fact true, but the Knapp view prevailed for a long period of time. This guy doesn't require an introduction. This is Charles Olden, a Republican who was elected in the gubernatorial election in 1859. This is Joel Parker, who was a pro-war Democrat, although he had disagreements with Lincoln. Lots of people had disagreements with Lincoln. We'll get into that in a moment. Lincoln today is considered sort of as a god, or at least godlike. That wasn't the case during the Civil War. This is Joel Parker, a pro-war Democrat who was elected in November of 1862. And he single-handedly, with other notable Democrats, including Jacob Van Atta, fought the pro-peace faction and destroyed them, the Copperheads in New Jersey. Parker went on and served as a governor about 10 years later, and he is I rank him as one of the great governors of our state. He took on the railroads and had many reforms in 1875, and he led the Democratic Party finally to accept that African Americans had the right to vote, and New Jersey accepted this by deleting the word white in front of voters in the state constitution in 1875, and that was by a huge majority vote of New Jerseyans, both Republicans and Democrats. I bring along this not to advertise my book. Only Rutgers gets the royalties, so I'm not a salesman for the book. But it's significant because this is the first political cartoon in the history of New Jersey, and it occurred in the gubernatorial election in November 1865. And it's making fun of John Runyon, who was the Democratic mayor of Newark and the Democratic candidate for governor, where it says from Bull Run to New Jersey 4 years, implying Runyon was only in the Army for a few months. This is a blow-up of a Somerville newspaper, and it really represents a consensus of Republicans and pro-war Democrats in New Jersey. The Union and the Constitution, the Union must and shall be preserved. And that represents the majority opinion of Jerseyans. So much for the political side over there. This is the military side, and here is a recruitment poster. I'll be referring to a bunch of guys, and so their pictures are here. James Madison Drake, a newspaper editor from Elizabeth. Ira Dodd of the Dodd Mead Publishing, later publishing family, who writes well, and I quote him often. He went to Yale after his military duty. He is such a good writer, didn't even need to go to Yale at all. This is Wash Roebling, and there are two different pictures of Roebling. Roebling served brilliantly in the Civil War, and he, as well as his wife, helped build the Brooklyn Bridge. This is Alfred Ballard, a carpenter from Jersey City, a Britisher. And here are the various battlefields in which New Jersey soldiers participated, both in the Eastern Theater of Military Operations, mainly in Virginia and twice in Maryland. Here are Jersey troops in Virginia, and over here are the Jersey Civil War battle flags, which were rotting away in the state capitol. Finally, they were preserved and saved by the state archives. All right, what I would like to do then is briefly talk about the political, but also the military conduct of the war, and then I look forward to your questions. As you know, a national crisis erupted with the presidential election results in 1860. The Southerners, in my judgment, overreacted to Lincoln's election. Lincoln did not pledge to end slavery. So what was the fuss about? Repudiating majority rule, championing slavery, asserting state rights. The South, as you know, seceded, formed the Southern Confederacy. and fired the first shot on the United States Army's Fort Sumter, flying the American flag, and thus started our only Civil War. It's debatable whether it was our only Civil War, as we had really a Civil War here in New Jersey during the American Revolution. How did Jerseyans respond? What was the Jersey record in wartime during the Civil War? The rebel attack generated a northern counterattack. People just wanted to crush the Southern rebellion. They got angry. I remember the feeling. I was alive. Many of you will possibly remember if you were awake as well as alive on December 7, 1941, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. I remember the day vividly because my father, for the first time in his life and mine, told me to shut up because they were trying to listen to the news broadcast on the radio. Alfred Ballard, a British immigrant carpenter in Jersey City, over there, declared his indignation, rose to a boiling pitch. This 18-year-old, along with others, joined up. Elizabeth editor Madison Drake vowed to defend the Constitution, maintain the Union. Patriotism clearly urged on and caused many to recruit and join the United States Army. But each recruit, after all, had his own compelling personal reasons for enlisting. Some guys joined up for practical reasons. More money, ample food lured them. Freedom, adventure lured still others. Guys wanting to escape the tyranny of the plow, the boredom of clerking, the monotony of back-breaking factory work, and we mustn't forget it, a romance gone sour. They escaped and joined the army. Jerseymen enlisted. Under 100,000 Jerseyans served in state units, mainly infantry regiments. Training. Recruits arrived and receiving camps spread across our state, where officers tried to whip civilians into line. Britt Ballard described this as, quote, initiating men into the mysteries of keeping our heels on a line, toes out at an angle of 45 degrees, belly in, chest out, and such other positions to make a full-fledged veteran out of a raw recruit. Camp experience at the front. Jersey troops looked forward to a holiday excursion. They soon found out otherwise when the disagreeable facts of daily Army life in Virginia stared them in their face, when their illusions, their grand illusions, were bashed to bits. Camp life boiled down to monotonous routine, endless drudgery, daily drills, interminable inspections, maddening calls to hurry up and wait. Sounds like my army duty in the Republic of South Korea after the war there. The weather down south was no picnic either. A howling Virginia winter was so bad, Jerseymen came to disbelieve in the sunny south. Spring brought more than a foot of muck. Dubbing his outfit Camp Mud, one Jersey trooper cracked, "We walk in mud, eat in mud, sleep in mud, drink muddy water." End of quote. Shared experience. Living in close quarters, tested relationships. Infantryman Ira Dodd of Orange remarked, "It was one thing back home to meet a man every day at work, but it was quite another to have to bunk with him, to sleep under the same blanket, to take food out of the same camp kettle. Dodd pungently observed, "We learned our own hitherto unsuspected faults. We discovered good qualities of even faulty comrades. We saw human nature at close range." Now there is a sentence. Sharing common experience, hunger, thirst, exhaustion, suffering, facing common danger, forged a powerful bond of comradeship. Explaining why he rejected a higher rank commission in another unit, Wash Roebling of Trenton observed that he had been with his present comrades so long, quote, "I want to stick to them to the end of the war," end of quote. Military discipline. Most guys, including Jerseyans, disliked discipline, hated regimentation, distrusted authority, resented martinets. Yet enlisted guys had to adjust to higher ranks enforcing discipline. But sometimes relations got downright rocky. Britt Ballard got into trouble with a sergeant by not complying with an order soon enough to suit his lordship. They started to shout and shove each other, but Ballard didn't push it too fast, too far, not wanting to land up in the guardhouse, as he grudgingly admitted, "Orders were orders." Sensing his outfit formed part of a larger whole, Dodd shrewdly, brilliantly remarked, "A man is but a cog in the wheels of a remorseless machine, and he must move with it." A rebel soldier would not have said that. Each wanted to be his own general, one reason why the rebels lost the Civil War. In the battlefield, spoiling for a fight, Jersey troopers marched proudly into their first battle, witnessing a hailstorm of bullets, shells, with men falling on every side. Ballard confessed, "I experienced for the first time a sensation of fear. I got so sick in the stomach, I wanted to fall out of the ranks to relieve myself." Seeing screaming comrades die, troops grew weary of carnage fast, but the war went on relentlessly. Wash Roebling found the same old story, quote, "Every day, kill, kill, kill." Soldiers wondered whose turn was next to get shot. Roebling saw an ominous block of buzzards over us, waiting for their feast. Troops agonized, when would the war ever end? But Jersey troops refused to give up, vowed to see the war through and win. Jersey troops respected rebel troops as tough opponents who fought hard, who also respected rebel generals who for a long time ran circles around the Yankees in the war, especially in Virginia. Roebling remarked, quote, "Uncle Robert Lee isn't licked yet by a long shot, and if we are not mightily careful, he will beat us yet." So Jersey troops, became hardened, battle-wise veterans. Guys who didn't panic. Guys who followed orders. Guys who pulled their own weight. Guys who focused on their mission. When their lives depended on split-second decisions, they relied on their teammates to survive and succeed. Soldiers in combat fought for their buddies, fought for their units, fought for their fear of showing cowardice, fought for their manhood, fought for their lives, fought for their country and the cause. So far, Jersey troops seem just like other Yankee troops who shared the same experiences and who had the same reactions. Well, what about Jersey's combat record? Jersey units played a role in most key campaigns in the Eastern Theater of Army operations, mainly in Virginia. But in the last half of the war, they participated in major Western campaigns. Of the 300 outstanding Union regiments that bore the brunt of the fighting, New Jersey contributed 12. And Jersey's death toll reached 6,300. This figure represented nearly 1% of New Jersey's total population. 1% today would mean over 100,000 killed. How battle-worthy were Jerseymen? One sergeant in the 9th Jersey Infantry Regiment observed, quote, "General Burnside called us Jersey muskrats when he seen us in the mud up to our necks. But the rebels call us the Bloody Ninth. They say we can both swim and fight." In another engagement, a 6th Jersey Regiment surgeon heard rebel soldiers say, "Only break the lines of the Jerseymen and we've got 'em." A Camden man said New Jersey troops had the grit of the true Jersey blue. Jersey troops earned a deserved reputation as resourceful, tenacious, tough fighters. And they brought honor to New Jersey and to themselves. New Jerseyans helped to crush the Southern Rebellion. The record of Jersey troops on the battlefront is really not controversial. There is no major book that contends that Jersey troops, especially the Jersey muskrats, were first-rate troops. The problem, the difficulty, the controversy is not what happened on the battlefield, but what happened on the home front. New Jersey's political role, home front politics, in my judgment, however, has been misunderstood. Partly, this is because Jersey bashing is an old custom. It started in the 17th century. Even Lincoln had his special Jersey joke at our expense. But most importantly, a wretched study that I referred to before on New Jersey's political role in the Civil War by Charles Merriam Knapp was published in 1924. What were the previous ideas espoused by Knapp about New Jersey's role in the entire Civil War era? Before the Civil War, it was supposed during the 1850s that New Jersey sympathized with the South, was indeed actively pro-Southern. It was further supposed that Jerseyans supported slavery, and Jerseyans backed the expansion of slavery to the West, and Jerseyans agreed with the Southern version of state rights. In point of historical fact, Jerseyans opposed slavery, and Jerseyans, without a civil war, got rid of slavery in New Jersey by gradual emancipation starting in 1804 with Jeffersonian Democratic Governor Joseph Bloomfield in 1804. By the time of the outbreak of the Civil War in April 1861, there were 18 servants left, and they were not pieces of property. They had rights, unlike slaves who were pieces of property under law. Jersey voters, moreover, elected members of Congress who opposed Southern attempts to make Kansas a slave state in 1857-58. Moreover, Jerseyans elected Republican governors in 1856-59. The Republican Party in the Civil War period was a progressive party, and the Democratic Party was more or less a conservative party, just the reverse of the situation of the political parties today. And Jerseyans electing Republican governors in 1856 and 59, they, as well as the legislators, opposed the Western expansion of slavery. As to the meaning of New Jersey's presidential election outcome, critics have concentrated on the electoral bottle being half empty rather than half full. Because Republicans did not receive all of New Jersey's electoral votes, some argued that New Jersey's support for the Union was weak. But in fact, New Jersey's electoral vote was entirely for two Illinois Unionists, Lincoln, who won 4 electoral votes, and Stephen Douglas, who won 3. Moreover, New Jersey in 1860 did not follow the border slave state pattern to back John Bell, the green states on the map there. Or did New Jerseyans back the southern pattern to back John Breckinridge, although there were a lot of John Breckinridge supporters, not in New Jersey, but in Pennsylvania. In the Secession crisis, after Lincoln's election, New Jersey did not accept the southern version of state rights. And New Jersey did not repudiate majority rule. And New Jersey did not believe in Southern secession. About a dozen did, and they met in Trenton. God bless them. Or perhaps a stronger term, God damn them. Jerseyans, in fact, opposed Southern secession in 1861. Our political record before the outbreak of the Civil War is crystal clear, and no more Jersey bashing by New Yorkers, Pennsylvanians, or anybody else. What about the record during the Civil War? It was supposed during the war that Jersey was an anti-war state. That is, a Copperhead state, a Peace Democrat state. In fact, Jerseyans fought to maintain the Union. And it is not well known, but I'll point it out, after the Civil War, during Reconstruction, it was supposed that Jersey was a conservative backwater. Unlike, in fact, the ex-slave states in the borderland and the South, New Jersey accepted voting by African Americans. New Jersey also opposed racial segregation in the public schools by public law. Having researched such matters for a decade, I thought